YouTube, it's been a minute. 100-day journey, man. To any of y'all who do not know me or didn't come from TikTok, I'm Genesis. I got this brand right here. I'm putting right on the screen. GenesisUpcycled.com. I'm gonna share my L's, I'm gonna share my W's, tips you can use to make your quality rise, and we're gonna be making some pieces together on this video as well. Before I start talking about my journey, this is a new studio. I literally made a studio dedicated to this journey. This whole studio is gonna be making a shift with us. So light up that blizzy. You know, we gonna get fried. Grab your popcorn, bro. We're gonna do a lot this video, man. All right, it's the morning time. We're gonna ship some orders. All right, we're setting up this Depop order. I got these tags off Amazon. You can make your customized labels if you don't have a manufacturer. These I really like. I'm gonna show you what I do with them because you can use this printer, your label printer, to customize your own logo. I gotta print it out. It's for my newest logo. This is the method I use when starting off my Depop for my brand, so I'm just gonna do it because it's a Depop order. Once you scan this, it will take you to every link I have. So you got a little business card. You can customize it any way you want. I just fold my item up. I like to put it in the pocket so it's like a surprise for them. Then I'll put a tag there as well. So if you're just starting your Depop, this is a way to make your brand look way more professional just from a short period of time if you don't have a manufacturer. Let's see what we can grab real quick. So we got the lineup. It's blue, but I just realized they added another rivet here by accident. This is Lee's 100% cotton. That's all I buy, 100% cotton. This is women's, from a women's section. I'm just gonna cut it up. This is pillowcases. Came with 4 for only $4. So, but that's really weird about this rivet. Wonder how that happened. But we're gonna get started. We gotta undo the seams. You know, I'm doing a voiceover now because I want to stay on topic of the video. So when I used to seam rip, I used to just, you know, be really impatient. You know, you see these videos on TikTok, they're short clips, so they're not really showing you the whole thing. But in reality, these people are taking their time and making sure not to rip the fabric, because I used to rush. And when making art, you shouldn't rush because you want to have a clear canvas when working on material. And so just take your time, trust me. And, you know, once you get that string loose, you can pull it and it will go faster, but just take your time when doing it. Like I said, I want this video to help you guys, all the beginners out here, just like me. You know, we got to build a little community, but I'm sharing this part right here because I told you guys from the beginning, I'm going to share my L's, I'm going to share my W's, but I'm not going to lie. I envisioned a whole different piece when making this in my head, but, you know, I had to take a step back, chill, relax, and then come back to it because I tried to, you see where those little vines or whatever connect to the flowers, I try to make a little wavy pattern, but to me, it didn't come out symmetrical. I wasn't messing with it, but I say that to say this. If your piece isn't getting executed as you want to, walk away, come back to it a few minutes later when you got your, you know, mind clear. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned, but, you know, if you take a step back and then come back harder, you'll be surprised at what you can make and the outcome of your pieces. You know, I didn't go to school for this. If you're watching this video, you may have not either, but people been asking me how did I grow so fast in this amount of time. It's because I was confident and I took my time and I was passionate. So if you really want to, go get it, man. Anyway, we're going to iron this out. When I was starting out, I barely ironed. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. So make sure you're ironing them seams. Make it lay how you want it to lay. Like when you see my finished piece, it's always laid flat, nice, precise. It's laying, the flare is nice. It's because I iron. Even after I do a stitch, I iron that seam right up in the direction that I want it to lay. You know, if you iron it one way, it would lay way differently. Remember, you're the maker, so you can manipulate the fabric any way you want. So we're gonna move on to distressing. So I'd like to draw along where I'm gonna do it so I can visualize it. I use this dermal drill or rotary drill, whatever you want to call it. I got it from Walmart for like $30. When doing it, it may look like I'm pressing it right into the fabric real hard, but I'm letting the machine do the work. You have to have a gentle hand when doing it. Don't like rip into the fabric. It would do everything by itself. Just all you gotta do is guide it in the direction you want it to go. So, I mean, you can rip it if that's what you're going for. For this piece, I do rip some of it. I'm not gonna lie. You'll see when the finished product comes, but just let it do its work. You know, you ironed it out. It's all laid nice. Just let it do its work. So I'm gonna, in this video right here, I speed it up a lot because, like, my actual process, because I'm looking for those rips. But also, I want to show some of the threads coming through, but it's kind of hard to explain. You'll see, though. But any tutorial you guys want me to show, I'm gonna do Boro as well, or grit stitch. A lot of y'all been asking me on TikTok. So just comment below and I'll do an in-depth video of anything y'all want. But you see how it just went and curled up in the machine? That's what happens if you press too hard, you know? But it's all right. You can fix those rips. If you do, just be cautious. Also, I advise y'all to open the window or do it outside and put a mask on because there's so much fabric that comes out. But you see how easy this rips? That's because you're just tearing the first layer of the fabric. You know, those little strings can pull right out. You don't want to rip those. That's why I said don't go too hard on your fabric. So it's real easy. People been asking me, and just take your time. You see how that little thread was harder to pull? Don't rip it because then you may just rip part of the fabric you didn't want to, you know? But you're basically just gonna pluck those out. I seen people use tweezers and stuff. I don't because I just like doing it with my hands. I have more freedom. I tried tweezers before and I don't know. I'm just showing you guys my process. There's no right or wrong way, you know? That's the thing about this. It's just about having fun, but I use a soft bristle brush and I knock those threads out. Whatever I can't get out with the comb or brush, I just take out with my hands. And this part should be real easy if you did the distressing right and all the fabric will come out. So now I'm just tearing up the donor fabric. This was from the women's section because I like the women's sections, like materials they have and also the patterns they have. You know, this is just standard cheetah print, but like they have way more different patterns in the men's section. So don't be scared to go to that women's section and find some good fabric. Towards the end of the video, you'll see what I use this pocket for. But basically, I'm just cutting up this donor fabric. And I did one big sheet, almost like a flare of just this fabric with a denim backing. So I had a backing because I just wanted to match the fabric of the denim. I don't like how, you know, if you just add that fabric, it may look loose or curl, like puff up out of the distressing. I don't know. So I just like to add this denim backing to it to make it more fitting and more comfortable to wear. So I'm just sewing this up. Random patches on a panel. I made I made 4 panels. One for, 2 for the front, 2 for the back, you'll see. And then I iron it up, place that on, and then I iron again to make it nice and precise, don't move. And then I pin it up. You know, like I said, it's more like time consuming because you're prepping your work. I say it's like 80% prep work, 20% sewing if we're gonna be real. So I'm just pinning it up, making sure it doesn't move. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot what this type of stitch is called, but basically just going back and forth. Well, I am going back and forth. It's gonna give an illusion, like almost different texture to the piece. You could kind of see to the left of the distressing, but I just love it. And it makes your piece almost like flush with the background, if that makes sense. I remember I tried to execute this piece back then, like my first month of sewing, and since I didn't iron out so often, the piece came out crazy. It kept jamming up. But like I said, just keep ironing it up. Make sure it's flat, and that sewing machine gonna do the work, man. Also, make sure you're always stretching your fabric out constantly. You're gonna see me correcting it, making sure, like, I'll stop the whole stitch just to stretch out the fabric. That's what you gotta do, you know? You can't be rushing this shit. All right, boom, we got that done. You know, now we're probably like 50% done. Nah, I say like 70% done at this time. And it's looking okay. You know, you gotta trust the process. You know, iron that up, of course. Then with that flower pattern, I just cut her out in little circles and placed it where I wanted to, and then used some fabric glue. And then once you place it on, just make sure you use your fingertips and press it into the fabric. Also, it's good that you iron beforehand, because if it was all wrinkled up, it wouldn't lay nice. So you see me just pressing on, and you could place a weight over it, but I'm using books to place over it, and then keep it on for like a few minutes. There's many different kinds of fabric glue. I use Gorilla. There's many different kinds. I love using this one though, because it doesn't leave like a residue on top. But that's why it's important to do your research on which one you want to buy. And you see me pressing it on still. Just hold it on for like 10 minutes. It's looking pretty good. So you already know what I'm gonna do next. You already know. Iron that up and make sure it's laying real nice before you start. Now, I remember I used to use a actual drill to distress. This tool right here, it's a game changer. So you're just gonna do it real lightly, like I said before. Now, after you distress, you iron it once more to make sure it's nice and flat before putting it in the sewing machine. No, I don't even know what to really call this. I know it's called Boro denim, but I like to call it a grid stitch, because you're literally just doing a grid. You know, there's different ways you could do it. You could do the back and forth method, like I was doing when on distressing. But I just think the grid gives it a more finished look, and you can see through it. Like those flowers there, you can see through the thread, and it paints an illusion. And it makes it one with the piece. So once you lay that first line, you're literally just using your pressure foot to do the rest of the work. So you're just making these lines and the stitch, make another line and the stitch, and just create a grid. Also stretching the fabric, of course. So I'm just gonna do this, and I'll show you when it's done. So now I'm just gonna let the video play out. You can see what I did with the pocket on TikTok, but I'll show a finished review at the end. I hope this helps y'all, because all these tips really did improve my craft. Let me know what type of videos y'all want to see, or tutorials. Regardless, I'm gonna do weekly videos on my, artwork. But hit that subscribe button. My socials in the description, and I'll see you next time, bro.